welcome Femi Adeyeye. Femi Adeyeye, it's glad to have you.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So Femi, before we begin this conversation, let's quickly run this by you. You are in Oyo right now. You are in Oyo State. News just reaching us says that in the Green Chamber, that's the House of Representatives, it has passed second reading that Oyo has been split. Oyo has been split into Oyo and Ibadan. How does that make you feel?
No, just like I'm reacting to it now, I'm just laughing.
Yeah.
I think Nigeria does not need more states. We need more viable states.
Yeah.
You understand? So the ones that are on ground are not functioning yet in what should actually be a true federalism or some kind of federal arrangement. So creating more states is not the solution to anything. For me, I just feel it's some kind of a political arrangement for some people to also get some patronage. This is what they do many times. So Ibadan states or your states, where you now have your town as the capital, that's not it. You see, so, these are people who they wake up one morning and they just feel, oh, there's something else we can use to distract these people, and that's what they do. So let's not bother ourselves with whatever reading or third or fourth or fifth reading that bill is going to. We are going to write a position paper on that.
Yeah.
And definitely we're going to see that bill is killed. There's no point.
Thank you very much. So let's go back to what we're talking about today. We're trying to see if Nigeria has actually learned anything from the SARS protest 4 years ago. Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Femi Adeyeye, are you there? Wow, the network seems to be playing a fast one on us this morning.
The network is playing hanky-panky.
Hanky-panky and all that. But, I like his optimism. I like that he says that they might oppose that. They might write a letter to opposing that. I mean, I feel that the fact that a lot of people woke up to this kind of story shows that the people themselves are not being carried along.
Absolutely.
House of Representatives, you are representing people. So are you actually carrying them? Is this what they want or not? So, I mean, that's why you are there. So if people, Femi Adeyeye cannot speak for every other person.
Absolutely.
But if people really do not want this, then I don't see why you should be passing this kind of bill. Since it's still at the second reading, it still has to get to the Senate.
Yeah.
The Senate has to approve it. Then probably the president also would sign it into law and order. But before that, I mean, the people, citizens or people living in Oyo State, Ibadan, they have the right to oppose this bill if they do not want it. But going back to NSAS, as I was saying, I said I feel like there's this sort of bitterness that these police have not come out of. So anytime they see protesters, and that's the only time you see them well kitted.
Yeah.
When you see the policemen on the street, they are not as kitted as when they are going for a protest. You see the armor tank, the APC vehicles and all that, and you see them in their full regalia. And you're wondering, so you actually have this, sometimes you even see anti-bomb squad.
Yeah.
And you're wondering, so you actually have an anti-bomb squad. It's too much to bear, but seeing that 4 years on, we've not still come out of it. But let's have Femi Adeyeye. Femi Adeyeye, I do apologize, the network is trying to play a hanky-panky on us this morning. But it's glad to have you back.
All right, thank you very much for always managing me and my network.
So the first question is this. In your view, we are talking about #NSARS now. In your view, what is the most significant lesson that you think Nigeria should have learned by now from the NSARS movement?
Okay, when you mean I want to presume you mean the Nigerian states,
Oh,
the
yes.
ruling class.
What
they should understand by now is that I think what they should understand by now is that the yearning for freedom, the yearning for liberty, the yearning for a revolution in Nigeria cannot be killed by guns. Roll out all the tanks, roll out all the bomb squad, like my gentle brother there just said, roll out all the tear gas canisters and everything. It's not going to stop the people from fighting for their rights. We've seen it. It has happened, from 2020 down to this time. They should by now, anyone would think that by now they should understand this simple fact and not repress protesters when they come out. But look at what happened on Sunday. People who have come out to say, you killed our fellow Nigerians, you killed them brutally in 2020. And now we're coming back 4 years after to memorialize these people, to remind you of the recommendations of your own panel. Remember, there was a judicial panel of inquiry that was inaugurated by the Lagos state government. It was not an independent panel in its, by my own estimation. It was even by the Lagos state government. And this panel found the government culpable of different, levels of crime and stated out over 27 recommendations. But as I speak to you today, none of those recommendations, none, not one, has been acceded to. Not one. And then you come back to say the people are not reasonable, that the people protesting are not opening space for dialogue. How do you open space with a bully? Someone who beats you at the slightest, chance. The protesters on Sunday have not protested for 10 minutes. For 10 minutes before they were, pounced upon, they were beaten. Azan Soweto was related. Women amongst them, they were sexually molested. As I speak to you, many of these comrades are now at different hospitals, trying to treat one injury or the other. So it goes to them that they've not learned anything. They are not interested in dialogue. They are not interested in fixing, the problem. So it is a case where the Nigerian state sees the people as enemies instead of, partners who are seeking, this progress. Do you get it? So that is where we are. They've not learned anything. Ideally, one would have thought that, okay, they would have come to that realization that even if you roll out all the tanks, you cannot stop people who are yearning for justice.
Femi, before Olumide comes in, the police came out yesterday to say that it had released all of the protesters that it had arrested. I don't know if you have that on good authority too. Are any of your comrades still in police custody because of the NSAS memorial?
None. They were released on that same day, when our lawyers swung into action and all that. But as we still speak to you, there are people who were arrested due to NSAS who are still languishing in prison. We've read out their names. We have the list as far back as 2 months ago when this old issue came back again, and the police were denying that nobody is in prison or nobody is in detention due to NSAS. And we gave them names. That this person is still in detention due to NSAS. So we are asking that all these persons also should be released immediately. It's 4 years already, 4 years of torturing, a generation of young people who are seeking freedom. So it's unconscionable. In fact, it's a crime against humanity to what they've done. What they did at Lekki is, in fact, it's a crime that should never be pardoned, either on this earth or thereafter.
Right. I would like to ask 2 questions. The first question is, you made mention of the Judicial Investigative Panel. Were there any recommendations made towards the NSAS protesters that were arrested? Were there any recommendations? Did they talk about it? Then secondly, do you think that the Lagos State government not being able to accede to the recommendations might also be the fact that if they do, it would be indirectly them admitting to what happened during the NSAS?
So they are just running from their, shadows, which is not possible. They can't. So just like you've, insinuated, agreeing to the recommendations or acceding to some of, the recommendations of the panel would mean accepting that they killed Nigerians, which actually happened. So when people say, and that was my first tweet in this memorial, that nobody should ask who gave the order. I think that question has been so exhausted. In fact, it was exhausted on the street, exhausted by the media, exhausted even by the panel itself. The panel agreed that there was a massacre, and the people who gave the order, it was so clear. So Buhari gave the order to the military.
Do you have proof of that?
Definitely. Who controls the military? If the president says he did not give the order. In fact, he should have resigned immediately on that day.
Sorry to cut you.
Because that shows that you are incapacitated, you are not capable. Because why are you the commander of armed forces of Nigeria if you cannot tell us of the fact that you gave the order or you did not give the order? So that's not true. The president gave the order, someone who supervised the order, Seyi Tinubu, through those
these are bold allegations, but if I may come in,
yes, they know what I'm saying.
Adeyeye, if I may come in, you remember that the military also said that Governor Sanwo-Olu was the one who invited them.
Supervised.
These are really bold allegations.
Exactly. General Umelu. Yes, and these people, they must, if they are not brought to justice, I think justice should be brought to them. This is it. The generals, there are some generals in that recommendations that did not attend the panel. And the panel recommended disciplinary actions against them because they frustrated the investigation. This was a panel that started for almost a year from witness to, testify to what happened there. At some point, the military said they were going to Epe, and so they just had to pass through the place, and then nothing happened. At another account, they said they brought water for the protesters. At another account, they said yes, they shot, but it was blank bullets. Until the pathologist of Lagos State Chief Pathologist came and said 99 bodies. This is
99 bodies from the investigative panel. The network. I really like to get certain issues cleared with him. But we do apologize.